You also had the National Industries Recovery Act, or the NIRA, as well as the NRA, not the same as the National Rifle Association, guys. So this was to help industries, help labor unions. This is very, very big, guys. This was a huge deal. It really empowered unions. So much so, guys, that this is what's really going to take that trajectory into the 1960s, where we talked about labor unions, where they have almost too much power. And this is what's going to really start that. So this had a huge, huge impact on that. Uh, excuse me, sorry. You also had the Homeowners Loan Corporation, guys. That's a big one. It made mortgage payments more manageable for homeowners, so they're not becoming homeless, which was a big issue, obviously. Now, you also, guys, had some issues for Roosevelt for his New Deal. So you had the Supreme Court. They made rulings, since this was forced through so quickly, people didn't really have a whole lot of time to take a look at it. And once they got the time to look at it, they went, hey, whoa, that is not constitutional. You can't do that. And so you had several of his agencies, several parts of this New Deal, where people took it to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said, yeah, no, you can't do that. So the NIRA that I just mentioned, the National Industries Recovery Act, and the AAA, they found both of those to be unconstitutional. And so both times, basically, they said, well, the government cannot interfere with local commerce. We've talked about that before, guys. Givens versus Ogden. Congress can only regulate interstate commerce. So the NIRA and the AAA, they were impacting commerce at the local level. They were not crossing state lines as well. And so they said, nope, you don't have the authority, Congress, to do that. You can't pass those. Another kind of bruise for Roosevelt, another knock against Roosevelt, guys, for this first few years of his presidency was the court packing scheme. And so Roosevelt, guys, he did not like his laws being overturned, his agencies, his parts of the New Deal that he was trying to put in place. And so he kind of said, well, how can I help this situation? I can make sure that those don't get overruled anymore. And to do that, he decided, hey, let's try and make the court go from 9 judges to 12 judges. And the thing of that, guys, is obviously presidents, they get to appoint Chief Justice. So he's going to be able to, right off the bat, without anybody dying, anybody leaving their position, guys, he's going to get to appoint 3 more justices to the Supreme Court, and they're obviously going to be justices that kind of think the same way he does. So obviously, this is a way to keep them from overturning a lot of the legislation that he's trying to put into place. The press, guys, they sniffed this out immediately. There's this huge backlash against Roosevelt. People are calling him a tyrant and things like that, which for good reason. Then they call this the court packing scheme because he's trying to pack the court with all these justices that will support his viewpoint. And so, yeah, like I said, this was really called out early on by the press, and so this did not pass. They did not decide to pass an amendment that would increase the number of justices. 1935, guys, rolls around. So Roosevelt's been in office for 2 years. The economy's picking up, but we're still nowhere near out of the Great Depression. He says, okay, we need to institute new measures, second New Deal, and a lot of this, guys, is him recycling some of the agencies that he's trying to put in place, some of the laws he's trying to put in place, change them around a little bit to make them constitutional, to get those into place. And so one of the things that he created, guys, was the WPA, the Works Progress Administration. And so this was a big one, guys. This employed more than 8 million Americans. They were building, these Americans, they were building schools, hospitals, playgrounds. In fact, guys, I've been told that our middle school, um, was built as a WPA project, and so that's part of why some people in the community are so attached to it. Is that that is a big part of that history of the WPA. They also, sorry, I shouldn't say mad. My apologies, guys. That should say made improvements to schools, fixed them up. Uh, Another big one, guys, that I thought was smart was they employed musicians, artists, writers, which that makes sense because when people's budgets get tight, the first thing to go are the arts, right? People aren't going to be as willing to spend money on a painting. People aren't going to be as willing to hire someone to write a poem or um, someone to create a cartoon maybe for their business or whatever, right? So uh, to listen to a concert. And so those things, guys, one Roosevelt said, hey, we need these things to help Americans get through this hard time, which is kind of interesting, tie in with what's happening now with sports and entertainment to a certain degree. Um, but basically, guys, he's saying, hey, one, we need this, and two, these people need the money. They need to work too, and so they're not getting those jobs, so we're going to employ them. He also passed the Farm Security Administration, guys, that loaned roughly $1 billion to small farms. Also, part of that was they set up camps for migrant workers. Once again, a group that was definitely hurt very badly by the Great Depression, hit pretty heavily there. And he also said, hey, we need a safety net. We need a safety net for our people in circumstances like this. We need to create Social Security. Okay, and this is a big deal, guys, because Social Security, the Social Security system, uh, it's going to help the elderly, right? People 65 or older. It's going to help the unemployed, and it's going to help the disabled. All right, so I don't know about you guys, but I think most of us would say, do I want an 80-year-old person having to work 45 hours a week to make ends meet and survive? No, I do not. I do not want them to have to do that because I have to imagine a lot of 80-year-olds. I don't know how they would get through that work week. Um, they probably don't need to be doing that. Unemployment. So unemployment, guys, this comes out of your paycheck, comes out of money from your employer. So they have to kind of match that to a certain extent. And so this is a case where if you're taking an unemployment check, it's money that you put in basically from your check anyway. You're paying into unemployment. And so while you never want to be in that situation, you you have to understand these are benefits that you've essentially paid for. Um, so you shouldn't feel all that guilty for taking unemployment if you have to. So obviously people need help if they're unemployed. Look at right now, we're having a stimulus package that's been put in place by President Trump and Congress, and they're saying, hey, there's a lot of people that can't work right now, and they rely on that check, their paycheck to paycheck, and so we need to help them out. Okay, and then the disabled, like I said, same thing, kind of like with an 80-year-old person. Do you really expect someone who um, has a low IQ and basically needs help functioning? Do you really expect them to kind of pay their own way and work their own way? I don't see how you can. So these were big adjustments, guys. Big social work in place basically by Roosevelt and his administration to help secure these things for his people. Now, the difficult part, guys, is Social Security. It is an issue. And so it is an issue because essentially you have a concept of 65 or older. That's how you are eligible for Social Security. Now, the life expectancy was right around that age when Social Security came out. So they're not expecting a lot of people to ever draw Social Security because they're going, well, most people are going to die anyway. But if you don't pass away, you might need this safety net to help you out and help you retire, basically, help you make a living into your old age. And so basically, guys, Social Security is like this now, where you had baby boomers paying in to help these older people, right? Here's the baby boomers paying into Social Security. Now they're all getting to the age where they're retiring, and we have less workers, which means less people to pay for the baby boomers' retirement. And so that's a big issue, guys, where even some of your parents, they're probably at this rate going to be lucky to have any money in Social Security because it's all being spent on the people ahead of them now. Okay. Myself, I'm going to be lucky to draw that as well. You guys are going to be lucky to draw that as well. It's probably not going to happen if we continue on this path. So there are some issues with it, for sure, and that's something that the government needs to find out. It's been a topic the last presidential election. I have to believe, I hope it's a topic for the next presidential election, but it is a serious issue because people are paying into this, and so you expect to have those benefits when you do finally retire, when you make it to 65. So it's not flawless, but it is something, guys, that helps people that need help. But remember, guys, the whole basis behind Roosevelt's plan was not, hey, here's a free handout. It's, let's put people back to work. Let's put America back to work. Let's put money back in their pockets by employing them, by having them do a job. So it was certainly, like I said, really a carryover from the Hoover Dam and things like that. Okay. All right, guys, have a good one, and I will talk to you soon.